Welcome to Episode 4 of the AI Audit Exam Prep series. Today we are going completely under the hood to explore the entire lifecycle of artificial intelligence systems. We will examine the 7 critical phases that an automated tool goes through from the very first idea to the day it is finally switched off. You will learn how risk weaves through every single step and why different people working on the system might see those risks completely differently. Why does this matter to your everyday professional life? As an auditor or technology professional, understanding this life cycle is your blueprint for finding hidden vulnerabilities. When your company decides to buy or build a new automated scheduling tool or a predictive financial model, you will know exactly which stage of development to investigate to prevent costly compliance failures before they ever reach the mess public. Before we dive into the specific phases, let us talk about the overarching concept of the artificial intelligence lifecycle. Similar to traditional software development, this is the journey of a system from creation to implementation, ongoing operation, and eventual retirement. But artificial intelligence introduces a unique challenge called latent risk. Latent simply means hidden or dormant. A system might look perfectly safe during its early development, but as it encounters new information in the real world, it adapts and new dangers can suddenly wake up. Because of this, we must look at the different people involved, often called actors. A software engineer creating a foundational language model has a very different viewpoint on risk than the hospital administrator, who later uses that exact same model to transcribe patient records. The engineer might only worry about the software crashing. The administrator has to worry about a glitch altering a critical medical diagnosis. This is why everyone shares the responsibility to ensure the system is trustworthy and fit for its specific purpose. The first formal phase is plan and design. This is where you map out the goals, context, and requirements of your proposed technology. If you skip risk planning here, you are inviting failure. You might build something that violates ethical standards, introduces unfair bias, or lacks a clear chain of accountability. To prevent this, you start with a business use case. Think of a business use case as a formal justification document that explains exactly what problem you are trying to solve and how this specific technology will solve it. You must bring your stakeholders together early. Stakeholders are anyone affected by the system, from the legal team to the end users. Gathering them establishes leadership, decides who is accountable, and ensures legal standards are met from day one. During this phase, you conduct an initial risk assessment to spot potential societal impacts or data biases. You also establish a data governance framework. Data governance is simply the set of rules your company follows to ensure information is collected, stored, and used legally and privately. Finally, we use prototyping. A prototype is a rough, early version of the system. Just like an architect builds a small cardboard scale model before pouring concrete for a skyscraper, technologists build a prototype to test assumptions and catch flaws early, saving massive amounts of time and money. Next is the collect and process data phase. Artificial intelligence is entirely dependent on the information it consumes. Poor inputs directly lead to inaccurate, biased, or legally problematic outputs. The first step is gathering information from places like text documents, images, or environmental sensors. But here is a critical audit point. You must obtain consent for the information you collect. If a company secretly records customer phone calls to teach a computer how to mimic human voices, they face massive privacy lawsuits. Once collected, the information must be cleaned. Cleaning means removing duplicates, fixing errors, and deleting irrelevant details. You also perform completeness and quality checks. Imagine you are building an algorithm to predict city traffic patterns, but you forgot to include data from the morning rush hour. Your dataset is incomplete, and your predictions will completely fail. You must look for anomalies or missing pieces that could skew your results while ensuring everything is relevant and up to date. Transparency is key, which is why you must document the characteristics of your dataset. You need to record exactly how it was collected, what tools were used, and how many records it contains. You must explicitly state its intended use so nobody accidentally uses your traffic dataset to try and predict local weather patterns. Finally, keep detailed maintenance logs showing version control, how long you plan to keep the information, and any modifications made over time. The third phase is build or adapt models. This is where raw information is transformed into a functioning brain for your system. If risk is ignored here, your system will be fragile and impossible to understand. First, you choose the right mathematical framework based on how complex your problem is. Then you move to calibration and training. Calibration is the process of gently tweaking the internal settings of the software to make it more accurate. Think of it like tuning a guitar before a concert to get the perfect pitch. Training is when you feed massive volumes of information into the system so it can begin to recognize patterns on its own. A major focus here is explainability. Explainability means we can look at a computer's final decision and understand exactly why it made that specific choice. If a bank's automated system denies someone a small business loan, the bank must be able to explain which specific financial factors led to that rejection. To help with this, systems should be designed with automated event recording. This is basically an aeroplane black box for the software logging every single action it takes so auditors can easily review it later. This logging directly supports something called human-in-the-loop oversight. Human-in-the-loop simply means the software does not make the final call on its own. A real person reviews the computer's recommendation before any action is taken, ensuring human judgment and safety always override raw machine efficiency. Next, we enter the test, evaluate, verify, and validate phase. This is where you prove the system actually works safely before letting anyone use it. It is vital to understand the difference between verification and validation. Verification asks, did we build the system correctly according to our engineering blueprints? Validation asks a different question. Did we build the right system for our actual business problem? You could perfectly verify a high-speed train engine, but if your business needed an aeroplane, it fails validation. All testing must go through official change management processes. There are 5 specific types of testing you must know. First is model testing, which checks basic performance metrics like accuracy and precision against predefined benchmarks. Second is stress testing, where you push the system to its absolute limits with bizarre or extreme inputs to see if it breaks. Third is comparative analysis, where you race your new system against older baselines to prove it is actually an improvement. Fourth are bias and fairness checks, ensuring the system treats all demographics equally and operates with total equity. And fifth is scenario analysis, which involves feeding the system hypothetical real-world situations to predict how it will react. Any flaws discovered here become lessons learned, which must be fixed before launch. If a risk cannot be entirely fixed, it goes into a formal risk mitigation plan on the official project risk register. Only after passing all these rigorous hurdles does management authorize the tool for a production state. Now we reach the make available for use or deploy phase. This is the transition into live operations. We start with piloting. Piloting means rolling out the tool to a small controlled group of users to gather feedback and prove the concept works before a company-wide launch. You must also ensure compatibility with legacy systems. If your fancy new algorithm cannot communicate with the 20-year-old inventory database, your warehouse still relies on your operations will grind to a halt. If you are handing this technology over to third parties or downstream deployers, you must provide exhaustively clear instructions. They need technical documentation detailing exactly how to install, configure, troubleshoot, and maintain the system. This technical documentation, created throughout development, also proves your regulatory compliance to auditors. Deployment is deeply tied to organizational change management. You cannot just drop new software on employees and expect success. You must provide training, explain new job responsibilities, and secure staff buy-in. You also need a solid feedback loop continuously monitoring the user experience so owners are prompted to make necessary adjustments. Once live, we enter the operate and monitor phase. This is not a set it and forget it situation. It is a continuous dynamic process of watching the system work day to day. You must constantly look out for both intended and unintended consequences. A system meant to automatically filter spam emails might unintentionally start deleting legitimate vendor invoices. To catch this, you rely on a quality management system. A quality management system is a formal, heavily documented framework that proves you are continuously meeting industry regulations. You fuel this system using all the technical and risk documents you created in earlier phases, and you validate it through regular ongoing audits. Finally, we reach the retire or decommission phase. All technology eventually reaches the end of its useful life. Why do we shut these systems down? Usually they become obsolete or a better alternative hits the market. However, from an audit perspective, a system might be retired early if an ongoing risk assessment proves that its dangers now exceed management's defined risk appetite. You cannot just pull the plug. You need a detailed decommissioning plan routed through your change management process. You must safely migrate or delete the old data, ensure no other business systems crash when this one disappears, and guarantee operations continue without interruption. Throughout this phase, clear communication with everyone involved is essential to set expectations and minimize disruption. Let us recap the core takeaways. The life cycle of an artificial intelligence tool requires constant vigilance. You must plan rigorously and govern your data ethically. You must build explainable models that keep human beings in control. You must test from every angle, deploy with robust training, and continuously monitor for unintended harms. And when the time comes, you must safely retire the technology without disrupting the business. All the critical definitions, testing types, and lifecycle phases from this session are covered in the multiple choice questions on rucloud.com. It is highly recommended that you solve the chapter-wise questions to reinforce your learning and test your comprehension before moving on to the next session. Thank you for joining episode 4, and I will see you in the next.